Hey guys, my name is Michael the Aligned Creator, and here is another story of my journey full of synchronicities, God shots, James D., and the pattern of alignment. One afternoon at work, I noticed a delivery truck pull into the yard behind the lumber department. What caught my attention was the rebar that had just arrived. Later that same day, as I turned the corner onto aisle 16, a man appeared at the exact moment I did and began walking toward me. We started talking immediately. He asked me where he could find rebar, and I walked him over to aisle 15. He told me he needed the 8-foot sections. After making a call, I learned that the rebar had just been delivered that day. Another God shot. I grabbed an H cart and went out back to load it up. As we worked, we discovered we were both car guys. He introduced himself as James Dale and shared that he owned a concrete stamping business. That detail immediately connected for me. A family friend and neighbor had patented concrete stamping technology when I was a child. James mentioned that he had previously sold car parts and cautioned me about that side of the business, even though I explained that my focus had shifted toward manufacturing rather than distributing others' products. I shared parts of my story and how my life had recently begun changing in unexpected and powerful ways. There was a sense that James understood more than he was saying, as if the conversation was being guided. At one point, he joked that I must have done very well with women when I was making money in the past. I laughed and said they used to come in droves. What struck me was that the night before, I had looked up Bulldog's Rod and Customs for a pinstriping project with my business partner to help carbon fiber indentations in the parts stand out. I realized I already knew Ron from attending Ron's schoolhouse both as a child and as an adult, and I had run into him several times recently without knowing he owned the shop. In that moment, James called Ron on the spot, and we left a message together, another clear God shot. Around the same time, I had just purchased a booth spot at the Maple Grove Speedway event, Static Days. James invited me to Cars and Coffee, which had recently moved to a location on the mail line in a parking lot, and we talked about a Maserati he had been working on. He explained how affordable they had become and how many aftermarket options existed to upgrade them. In that moment, I felt a deep clarity. I thought maybe I can finally work alongside someone like-minded, step into sales in a way that fits my natural abilities, and give my body a break from the endless concrete I walk every day. James then offered me a sales position with recurring income based on closed deals. He told me I sounded like someone who could take constructive criticism and grow from it, something he valued highly. He shared that his business had recently pivoted due to competition and that he was rebuilding his business plan. He said he wanted to include me personally in that vision, another unmistakable God shot. Weeks earlier, I had noticed that the walkways at the university that I attend needed a significant amount of repair work and maintenance. I had also been thinking about an old friend who used a sales career to turn her life around and eventually buy a home. As I thought about a project of that size, a number clearly surfaced in my mind, $25,000. The very next day, I walked into Walmart and saw a brand new booth being set up for Aspen Home Improvements. A man named Jared was running it. Funny enough, I worked at Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. They were promoting a $25,000 sweepstakes. I entered my mother into the drawing. The following day, doctor and window salespeople showed up at my house. I told them I already had a company in mind and mentioned a recent story I had heard about aggressive sales tactics. The repetition of the theme felt impossible to ignore. The next morning, I missed my usual 9 a.m. Morning Miracles meeting and instead went to the 307 Club in Westchester. Matt P., someone I had been thinking about just the day before, showed up to that meeting for the first time. I told him I had been on my mind and how good it was to see him. He was heading to work afterward, so I took his number and sent him music and inspirational videos I had been listening to. Another God shot. As he unlocked the trunk of his car with his key fob, I noticed he drove a Nissan Altima, the same model I had recently worked on for a neighbor. I mentioned the coolant system maintenance I had just completed and offered to help him out in the spring when the weather warmed. Even the smallest details seemed connected. Later that day, I visited my friend John F., who lived around the corner. He mentioned that there had been 25 young women at the Morning Miracles meeting that morning. I told him I had gone to the 307 Club instead and shared the story about James Dale, including the earlier comment about women coming in droves. The number appeared again. Over just a few days, the pattern became undeniable. God was speaking to me through people, numbers, timing, and opportunities. By choosing to live differently, to stay open, and to be of service, my life began opening to an abundance I had been blind to for many years. These were not coincidences. They were God shots. If this message resonated with you, like, share, and subscribe for more content. Here's another video for you to follow along with my journey.